My son, bro. Hey, bro, my son's the best fighter in the world, bro. I need $20 million, Poppy. Shakur Stevenson say Keyshawn Davis knocked all of the Budweiser brew out of Teofimo Lopez Sr., Junior Lopez. We're going to talk about what went down in this video, but before we do that, make sure you hit my like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's cook on it. Yeah, this is getting real now. It's getting real now. It ain't gonna be no more friends between Shakur and Teo. Yeah, they ain't getting back cool again. That's for sure. Now, the whole little beef between Shakur Stevenson and Teo, it started because of Teo running his mouth like he always do. Every time Teo got a fight coming up, he always say some out of bounds shit, and he don't care who he said about. If you look at Teo, everybody that he was cool with in the boxing game, he didn't fell out with. Look how close him and Rolly was. Then he started talking reckless about Rolly, and they fell out. Then him and Shakur, they been cool since they was kids. He got to talking reckless about Shakur because he was jealous, and then they fell out. So yeah, you know Shakur, he ain't letting shit slide. He gonna address any and everything somebody say about him. That's one thing about Shakur. He not finna brush nothing up under the rug. We know that Teo and Shakur, they been beefing for a while now. Ever since Teo came and he talked about how Top Rank want to pay black fighters and how Top Rank, they want to put money into fighters like Shakur that's born and all of that. But at the end of the day, when you looked at the numbers, Shakur does way bigger numbers than Teo. I mean, look at the 2 Thursday night fights. Shakur had the bigger numbers. Even though, you know, it wasn't no exciting fight. Let's just keep it a buck. And Teo, he had a whole lot to say about how poor Shakur's performance was. But then he went out and put on a much worse performance. The man calls himself undisputed and couldn't even cut off a ring. Come on now, Teo. Anybody that think that Teo won that fight or even come close to winning that fight, I don't even ever want to have a boxing discussion with you. Because Teo went out there and got his ass beat for 12 rounds. That's what he did. Well, I'm going to keep it a buck. It wasn't no ass beat, but he went out there and he looked stupid for 12 rounds. Jermaine Ortiz put a boxing lesson on that boy. You know what I'm talking about, for 12 rounds. Showed all of the elements that Teofimo Lopez does not have. He went out there and exposed Teo after Teo talked all of that big shit, talked about everybody and their mama, and then he went out there and put on a performance like he put on. Now, we know that Teo, he's still been running his mouth afterwards, talking about his performance was a 10 out of 10. When he looks back, he did everything right. It's nothing that he could work on. And that's why he continued to get exposed every time he get in the ring with a boxer. But he'll lie and tell you that his performance was a 10 out of 10. But then in that same breath, tell you why he'll never fight another athletic fighter or a boxer ever again. Come on. If your performance was a 10 out of 10 and you did so great, why are you making excuses saying that you'll never fight, you know, black fighters and athletic boxers? And from now on, if a fighter not going to stand toe-to-toe with you in the middle of the ring, you not even entertaining them. You not fighting them. So you mean to tell me this self-proclaimed all-time great, Mr. I've been undisputed in 2 weight divisions, you mean to tell me you're not well-rounded enough to adapt? You got to tell a fighter how you want them to fight you? What kind of shit is that? Teo thinks he's supposed to be able to tell a fighter how to fight him inside that ring. This coming from, like I said, Mr. Undisputed, self-proclaimed himself. But anyway, man, Teo, he been beefing. Teo, you know, we all saw Keyshawn Davis outside the ring called Teo out. He said, Teo, you been running your mouth. You been had a whole lot to say. Well, instead of talking, let's get in the ring and see if you can back it up. Now, Teo didn't want no smoke. He made all type of excuses. And this is Keyshawn Davis we talking about. We ain't even talking about Shakur yet. He made all type of excuses, but he was running his mouth about Keyshawn. So, I mean, the right thing to do is to get in that ring and let your frustration off on that man if you can. But we seen T.O. making all type of excuses, saying Keyshawn Davis is clout chasing and all of that. But you the one that brought up his name and that was throwing dirt on his name. He didn't bring you up. The same thing you did with Shakur Stevenson. Now, you've been talking real reckless about Shakur Stevenson lately. And of course, he been popping back at you. But Shakur ultimately said, look, man, instead of all this talking back and forth, let's get it cracking. You know what I'm saying? Stop talking shit online, on X, on these social media accounts in your interview if you're not talking about fighting me. I'll move up to fight T.O. He don't want no smoke. Yeah, Shakur said he'll move up to 140 if T.O. wants some smoke. If T.O. says, yes, let's make the fight happen, and that's an easy fight to make happen. They both under top rank. That's probably a fight that Shakur will sign back to top rank for, right? Extend his contract with top rank for a T.O. fight at 140 pounds, even though he's a 135-pound fighter. But let's get it popping. But T.O., just like he did with Keyshawn Davis, started making a million excuses and said everything but let's fight. A phrase that Devin and Bill like to use a lot. Now, anyway, they was talking shit on X, and Shakur came out, and this is what Shakur had to say to T.O. He say, the same nigga that watched Keyshawn knock his father out right in front of him, but get in front of the cameras, talk like he the toughest nigga in the world. Bro, you pussy, I know you in real life. Now, we've all seen T.O. do this, and I know it's Teofimo Lopez fans in the comments already crying, but tell me what I lied about. We've all seen T.O. do this time and time again. Run his mouth, and then you can see he ain't really about that. You know what I'm saying? Because when he was running his mouth on stage with Keyshawn Davis, and Keyshawn checked him when they were sitting right next to each other, T.O., he tried to cop a plea. His whole energy changed. We seen Devin Haney. He pulled up on T.O., got right in his grill, and his whole energy changed. Like, you know, T.O., like I said, he's a good fighter, but he ain't about that shit he be talking, because you could tell. He don't like physical confrontation like that if it got to be outside the ring. So Shakur's telling this man, look, Keyshawn knocked all the liquor in the Budweiser out your daddy, and you stood there and watched and you didn't do nothing. How you let a man punch on your daddy and you stand there and you don't do nothing? Matter of fact, how do you let Keyshawn Davis, who was probably still an Olympian back then, punch your daddy and you ain't do nothing? And we know your daddy got a smart ass mouth. I've heard your daddy calling fighters the N-word before. This ain't the first time that I heard that somebody ran off in your daddy's mouth for talking slick inside the gym. I've heard this a lot. You know, his daddy, hey, Poppy, hey, fuck that, Poppy. My son's the best fighter in the world, Poppy. Hey, Poppy, hey, beat that nigga ass, Poppy. Yeah, they ran in your mouth for using that N-word, didn't they? You know. Yeah, they sure did. So, man, T.O., he is one of the most delusional cats in the whole sport of boxing. He needs to get off the boo-boo. He needs to get in the gym, perfect his craft, work on the things that we see that he have a tough time handling inside the ring, but he needs to get away from his daddy. He need to get away from his daddy, because all this time your daddy ain't taught you how to cut off the ring. All this time, your daddy have not taught you how to fight on the move. If T.O. has to come forward and be the aggressor, he ain't no good. Shit, he about average at best. Anyway, once again, Junior Lopez, Teofimo Lopez daddy, He done got punched in his shit and knocked out by Keyshawn Davis while T.O. stood and looked and didn't do nothing. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. Make sure you smash my like button, drop a comment, and y'all already know how I do. Diego talking that boxing again, and I'm gone.
Check out the interior, it's hater me. Chalkboard material, get it, then fuck it. Hey, roll another blunt up, hit patchwork, roll and fuck with Nico till that sun's up. Hit like nunchucks, he can't stop that.